Hello, hi, and welcome back. The new topic is cropping and farming systems. In the UPSC syllabus, the syllabus heading is concepts of various cropping and farming systems. And in the OPSC syllabus, the heading is concept of multiple cropping, multi-story, relay, and intercropping, and their importance in relation to food production. So let us see the various previous year questions that has been asked in either CSC or Forestry Service examination. So these are some questions related to rice feed cropping system. We will discuss in another video. Then this is the main cropping system, cropping pattern farming system, like questions like multiple cropping, multi-story cropping, intercropping, land equivalent ratio, then multi-storied cropping, relay cropping. These are some questions, and most of the question asked from this section. And specific uh, specific term like decoy crop, trap crop, catch crop, fodder forage crop, and some question related to conservation agriculture we'll also discuss in another video. Then some question related to farming systems, and then some bouncer like question, some speciality like here it has been asked that cropping system with corn and cropping system with cereal or millet based. So this is not a conventional question. We have to think to answer this question. Then in OPSC, previously the question were somewhere direct, like the brief account on various cropping pattern influence crop production. This question has been repeated in 3 years. Then question on intercropping, multiple cropping, relay cropping, everything has been asked. And here also discuss crop rotation or intercropping system involving pulses, cereals, fodder crops, and how this system improves soil health productivity. So considering this question, let us start today's discussion. So the topic is concept of various cropping system. So let us start with some term like cropping intensity and rotational intensity. Cropping intensity is gross cropped area by net area sown into 100. So when cropping intensity will be more, that means some portion of the net area is being cropped more than one during one agriculture year. For example, uh, say this is 1 hectare area, and in the kharif season we are growing rice here, and in the rabi season we are growing wheat here. So within the same patch of land we are growing two crops, and so the gross cropped area will be 1 hectare plus 1 hectare, that is 2 hectare, and net area is 1 hectare into 100, that means cropping intensity will be 200%. As we have discussed earlier, in some of the irrigated districts of India, the cropping intensity is more than 150%. In Punjab we can also go for 180%, 190% also. Then rotational intensity is number of crops in crop rotation, divided duration of years in crop rotation into 100. For example, we are taking rice pea cropping system, and here the duration is 1 year, as we are growing rice in the kharif season and pea in the rabi season, so the duration is 1 year. So here rotational intensity will be number of crops in rotation, that is 2, divided by duration of crop in years, that is 1 into 100. So here it will be 200%, this rotational intensity. Another example, in the cropping system groundnut, wheat and sugarcane. As we know, groundnut and wheat, this will take 1 year, and sugarcane alone will take 1 year. So this will be a 2 year rotation. So the crop are 3, divided by duration is 2 year into 100, so this will be 150%. So if some problem related to this rotational intensity calculation will come, we will definitely do this. Then coming to crop rotation or crop sequence, is a recurrent succession of crops and or fallow on the same piece of land, either in a year or over a long period of time. And what is its objective? To get maximum profit from least investment without impairing soil fertility. So there is some principles of crop rotation. As we know, if we are taking the first crop, that is a taproot system, the second crop should be fibrous root system. So the pressure on the soil should be less. And if one crop is leguminous crop, another is non-leguminous crop. Why? because the leguminous crop can actually fix nitrogen in the soil, and some of the leguminous crop have tap root system, and that will eventually take up the nutrient from the deeper soil level. And in non-leguminous crops, say rice, this will take the nutrient from surface level. Then the if one crop is more exhaustive, another crop should be less exhaustive, uh, so that the pressure on the soil should be minimum. Then if we are taking the first crop of one family, the second crop should be of different family, because the in the same family the insect pest or alternate host, those will be of similar kind, so there will be more pest attack. So in case of different family, we can break up the disease pest cycle. Then demand based crop selection, the crop selection should be demand based, so that the profitability will be more. Then maximum employment to family farm labor, we should design the crop in such a way, the design the rotation, so that the farm labor, family labor can be utilized for most part of the year. Then coming to the cropping system. Cropping system is cropping pattern used on a farm, their interaction with farm resources, farm enterprise, and available technology. Or order in which crops are cultivated on a piece of land over a fixed period of time. Most of the time we get confused with cropping system and cropping pattern. So remember, rice, wheat, this is a cropping system, not a cropping pattern. In many sorts, these may differ, but let us stick with this one. Then cropping pattern, yearly sequence and spatial arrangement of crops and fallow in an area, or proportion of area under various crop at a point of time. So I'm these are self-explanatory. So please go through this and grasp the definition at least, because we have to write the wording, exact wording in the definitions. Then types in cropping pattern, monocropping or multiple cropping. Monocropping is growing one crop in a year on same piece of land, and multiple cropping is growing more than two crops on same piece of land in one calendar year. Two crops or more than two crops. Then in multiple cropping, we can see that we are intensifying the cropping both in time and space dimension. How we are intensifying? In time dimension, because we are taking more number of crops in a year. For example, in Kharif we are taking one crop, in Rabi we are taking another crop. So that is double cropping or triple cropping or quadruple cropping. Okay, so more number of crops per year. And in case of space dimension, we are at a given point of time, what we are doing, we are using the same piece of land and growing more number of crops, that is mixed cropping or intercropping. Then coming to this mixed cropping, so this is a process of growing more than two crops together in the same piece of land. So here the how, why we should go for two or more than two crops. There it should be suitable in climatic hazard area, because in climatic hazard area there is chance of one crop failure. So we should take two or more crop, so that even if one crop gets failed, another crop can survive and we can derive our income or profit from that. And another is multiple requirement of food and fiber, when there will be definitely demand will be more, or demand for that particular crop will be more. In mixed cropping, normally time of sowing of all the crops are almost same. However, maturity time may be together or may be different time, like wheat or gram, both are a Rabi season crop and their maturity time is almost same. Wheat or mustard is nearly same. But in case of Orhor and Jawar, we see that Jawar can get harvested in quick time, but Orhor takes longer time. Similar with sesame plus green gram, then bajra plus groundnut. And remember one thing, in case of mixed cropping or intercropping, we are here the two crops are separated by a plus symbol. But in case of normal cropping system, the two crops, suppose rice then wheat, these are separated by a hyphen. So if hyphen, that means the season is different, means one crop is taken after another. And in case of plus, that means these two crops are taken together, that may be mixed cropping and that may be intercropping. Only difference between mixed cropping and intercropping is, basic difference is, in case of mixed cropping no specific row ratio is maintained, but in case of intercropping specific row ratio is maintained. Then coming to these types of this mixed cropping based on method of sowing: mixed crop, companion crop, guard crop, and augmenting crop. So in mixed crop, what we are doing, we are mixing the seeds of various different crops and simply we are broadcasting. And this is not a scientific method, because the intercultural operation, the harvesting will be very much difficult. In case of companion crop, seeds are not mixed, sown in different rows. Okay, so this may be little bit similar to intercrop, but the row ratio is not maintained here in case of companion crop in mixed cropping type. Then guard crop, if we are taking the sugarcane crop in the main field, in the border we can go for some like safflower, then mesta. So this safflower can be used to actually prevent the cattle, because some thorns will be there. Then that's why the name guard crop. Then augmenting crop means the sub crop is supplementing the yield of main crop. For example, when we are sowing mustard with borsum, the yield of borsum increases. Then coming to the principle of this mixed cropping, if we are taking one crop legume, then another should be non-legume, because there should be minimum competition. As we know, in case of orhar or jawar, the orhar will be taproot system and it will be somehow deeper, and in case of jawar there will be fibrous root system and somewhat will be it will be shallow. So there will be less competition between these two with respect to nutrient, water. Okay, then if one crop is tall, another should be short growing crop, because the solar light utilization efficiency should be optimum. Then deep rooted and another is shallow rooted crop. If one is deep rooted, another is shallow rooted, it is self explanatory. Then if one is bushy crop, another is erect growing. Otherwise there will be shade effect. If there will be shading, the net photosynthesis will be reduced. Then again, same family crops should not be repeated, and as we know, the insect pest disease attack will be the more. Then if one is short growing crop, another is long duration crop. See, most of the time the principle are more or less similar in case of crop rotation or in case of mixed cropping. Then advantages, as we know, this is suitable for climatic hazard area. If one crop get failed, another crop will survive. That means all crops won't fail. Then epidemic attack on one crop, other crops get unaffected. Then different crops fulfill daily need. For example, cereals, pulses, oilseed. Then soil erosion will be lower, as we are taking suppose one legume there, then that legume root actually tightly bind to the soil particles, so soil erosion actually decreases. And it improve or maintain soil fertility. Family labor employed throughout whole year. Then legume plus non-legume already we have seen. And cost of cultivation will also be reduced, because we will have less investment on pesticide, because we are taking we are taking crops of different family, so we are breaking the disease pest cycle. So the investment or spending on insecticide, pesticide, that will be naturally come down. Then intercropping, it is also growing up more than two crops or two or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land. Here only thing is definite row pattern will be there, which was absent in mixed cropping. In one will be main crop, other one will be subsidiary crop. For example, Setaria plus red gram 5:1 ratio. After 5 rows of Setaria, we are taking 1 row of red gram. So definitely cropping intensity in space dimension is achieved. Then objective is to utilize the space left between 2 rows of main crops. Then based on the types of intercropping, we can divide the intercropping into two types based on the plant population. This has been repeated once or twice in previous year examinations. One is additive series, another is replacement series. So this additive series means here one crop is main crop, that is the base crop, another crop is the subsidiary crop. So in case of main crop or base crop, we are recommending 100% of the population, and in case of uh, subsidiary crop, that is introduced to the base crop by adjusting the crop geometry. So we are not compromising the recommended population of base crop here. So this is actually common in India. Then here, in case of replacement series, in the replacement series, the both crops are called component crops. So by sacrificing certain proportion of population of one crop, other component is planted. For example, castor plus red gram. In case of intercropping, population of intercrop is less than population in pure stand, and the objective of intercropping is to increase productivity utilizing the resource effect. What resource? The suppose solar radiation or light or water or nutrient. So these are the resource. For example, groundnut plus red gram. In monocropping groundnut, the sunlight, rainfall, temperature utilized during the Kharif season. But when we take red gram as intercrop, these can be used up to end of winter season because the red gram or orhor takes longer time to get harvested. Then principles of intercropping: complementary crops should be there, they should not be competitive. Subsidiary crop should be of shorter duration, faster growing habit, so that it should not compete with the main crop. Then component crops should have similar agronomic practices so that the intercultural operation will be easier. Then erect growing crops should be intercropped with cover crops like pulses, okay, so that the soil should not be exposed more. Then different rooting depth, we have already seen this. Planting method of management should be simple, less time consuming, less economical, more profitable, so that wider adaptability will be there. And similar disease, pest, pathogen, parasites should not be chosen. We have already seen this. And then coming to types, some more types of intercropping. If in exam types of intercropping will come, we will definitely first write these additive and replacement series, then we go for this parallel cropping, companion cropping, strip cropping, relay cropping, multi-story cropping. So pause the video, these all are actually self-explanatory. Then coming to efficiency of intercropping. So this is one important concept. Efficiency, how we are measuring the efficiency of intercropping by land equivalent ratio. So land equivalent ratio is relative area of sole crop that would be required to produce the equivalent yield produced by intercrop. Okay. So LER or land equivalent ratio is yield of intercrop divided by yield of sole crop. So if we can say, suppose we are taking one example, maize plus cowpea or maize plus soybean. So here what happens? Uh, Suppose this maize we are taking this as A and this cowpea as B. So this LA plus LB means in land equivalent ratio of individual crop. LA means land equivalent ratio of maize, or LB means land equivalent ratio of cowpea, and land equivalent ratio of the total system will be LA plus LB. Okay, that will be YA by SA plus YB by SB. So where YA and B are individual crop yield in intercrop, that means individual yield, crop yield of maize is YA and crop yield of cowpea is YB, and SA and SB are yield of A and B as sole crops. If there is no intercropping system, then the total area will be covered by one crop. For example, the total 1 hectare area, say, that will be covered by maize crop. That then the yield of that monocropping, that sole cropping will be SA and SB. So how we can utilize this in exam, we can see in one problem. For example, maize plus cowpea intercropping system. Here the a sole crop yield of maize is 5 ton per hectare, and in cowpea it is 2 ton per hectare, and in intercrop yield it is 4 ton per hectare, and in cowpea it is 1.2 ton per hectare. So here LA or land equivalent ratio of maize will be, as we have seen already, intercrop yield divided by sole crop yield. So 4 by 5 is 0.8, and in case of LER of cowpea, that is LB, that will be intercrop yield, that is 1.2 divided by sole crop yield is equal to 2, that is it will be 0.6. So land equivalent ratio is LA plus LB, that is 0.8 plus 0.6, that will be 1.4. What actually it means? It means 1 hectare of maize plus cowpea intercropping produces the same yield as 1.4 hectare of sole cropping, or we can say 40% more land will be required under sole cropping to achieve the same production as in case of intercropping. Okay, so we can see that here intercropping is beneficial. So in case where LER is more than 1, then that intercropping is advantageous. Okay, so this type of problem actually now it is being asked in exam, and if you can do this, we will get the confidence of the examiner, and we will definitely get the full marks for that question. So kindly attempt a question like this. Then some difference between intercropping and mixed cropping. So these are self-explanatory. So kindly pause the video and go through this. One major difference between intercropping and mixed cropping, I have told earlier that in intercropping we are going for definite row ratio, but in case of mixed cropping there will be no row ratio. And in intercropping our main aim is the utilizing the space that left between the two main crops. Okay, then profitability will be more focused there. But in case of mixed cropping, wherever the climatic hazard will be there, we are diversifying our risk through mixed cropping. Okay, so some other good difference it is shown here. So kindly go through this. Then coming to the relay cropping or multiple cropping. So as we know, planting the succeeding crop before harvesting the previous crop. Okay, for example, in relay race as we have seen, and in eastern India, rice, then lentil before harvesting of rice. Actually, lentil is broadcasted. Okay, 10 to 15 days before the rice harvest. So in eastern India, it is called pyra cropping. In central India, say in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, that is called utera cropping. Okay, this rice, lentil, rice gram, rice green gram, these are example of pyra cropping. Then advantage will be why we are going for this relay cropping, because whatever residual moisture will be there, that can actually be utilized by the rabi crop. For example, rice and lentil we are taking, and suppose that is a rain-fed condition, so the rabi crop will not get any irrigation, and in the winter season normal rainfall is also low. So whatever the residual moisture that can be utilized by that lentil for germination and initial growth. So the better use of residual moisture will be there, cropping intensity will definitely be more. Then save time between crops, and land preparation cost is also lowered, and it increases the total farm productivity. However, there are some limitation because the competition between these overlap period. Okay, say that 10 to 15 days before the rice harvest and lentil is sown, that in some cases in that 10-15 days competition may occur, and it is less suitable where first crop is densely sown. Okay, there is no scope for that broadcasting for the second crop. Then multi-story cropping or multi-tier cropping, as we know, we are taking together crop of different height, different rooting pattern, and different duration. Okay, at the same time on the same piece of land. So why we are doing this? We are doing this to uh, actually use the land, water, and space most efficiently and economically. For example, coconut, pepper, pineapple, grass. Okay, as these are grown together, that's why the plus sign is there. So coconut, this will be this will take the highest strata. Then black pepper, we can have some another crop, and black pepper, as you know, this is a climbing in nature. Then pineapple, this will take the lowermost position. Then some grass we can also take. Okay. Then what the concept is, we can go for some tree also here. Cocoa we can also take, and pepper can actually trail through that cocoa. And in Odisha also, some coffee is also grown. As we know, coffee is some shade loving, or that is grown under a shade of a tree. So cocoa we can take, then coffee. Okay, and pepper we can take here, pepper. So pepper will actually climb on the cocoa tree, and then coffee plant will also get protected through the shade of cocoa. Then concept is multi-storeyed cropping, another way to improve land use efficiency beyond 100%. So land utilization index is aims at maximum production per unit area of land per unit time. So as cropping in intercropping system, the LER is there, land equivalent ratio. Okay, here in case of multi-storeyed cropping, land utilization index is there. So these are analytical tools. Okay, then land utilization index is number of days crop occupying land divided by 365. Then requirement, as we know, top floor means the as we know, species having preferably have a canopy which would permit light percolation. Okay, which would permit light percolation. And the ground floor species, those should have low light requirement. This is shade tolerant. Okay, like pineapple. Okay, and then coffee. And tallest component is final tier. This is foliage tolerant to strong light but high evaporative demand. And shorter tier, that is first tier. So this is foliage requirement, shade, or relatively more relative humidity. As you know, coconut, black pepper, cocoa, pineapple, we have already discussed. In exam, we can do a diagram here also showing various tiers of multi-story cropping. Then advantages: cut water cost considerably, quantity of water required is much less, cost of tillage and weed control will be there. Then cost on tillage and weed control will be low, and total production per unit land per rupee invested will be more. So these are four advantages of the multi-story cropping. In 2025, maybe in civil service examination, one question was asked: principles of cropping system. Okay, let us discuss that. So in cropping system, as we know, in principles, even if it is crop rotation, in mixed cropping or cropping system, more or less the principles are similar. The principle is here: resource use should be efficient. What are the resources? The resources may be the natural resources like sunlight, water, okay, or nutrient, or you can say farm resources. Farm resources, say irrigation water, fertilizer, and that should be actually recycled. So resource use should be efficient, and recycling of farm resources. Then crop diversification should be there. Why we are diversifying crop? To minimize the risk, and cropping intensity is also increased. Then complementarity, that should not be competition between the two crops we have taken. Then crop rotation should be there. And as we know, principle of crop rotation, different family we can use, inclusion of legume. Okay, then sustainability should be there, and soil and water conservation should be there. As we know, in agroecology we have seen that whenever the concept of sustainability, agroecology, like things like that come, we can do this diagram. That should be environmental sound and economically viable. And remember, in agroecology we have done the diagram like this. The system should be environmental sound. Okay, then the system should be socially just, and the system should be economically viable. Here we have removed this sustainable, socially just part. Okay, we have only taken this economically sound and economically viable. Here we can see, we can write cropping system. Then location specific timing should be there. So what in brief we can say that there should be right crop in right place, right time, and in right sequence, and the combination should be right. So and there should be efficient resource use, and this there should be sustainable, and it should generate some profitable income. Okay, so this is, I think, in brief we have covered the topic. And if some doubt still is there, kindly comment in the comment section. Thank you.